We've got a Saturday matinee featuring two top 10 teams in Class 4A at East Ridge High School in Woodbury. We have an up-and-coming East Ridge Raptors squad that came within a few points of reaching the state tournament a year ago against a Titan in the Eden Prairie Eagles. Eden Prairie undefeated, number 3 in the most recent poll, and they have a lot of D1 talent leading the way. Greetings, everyone. I'm Mike Peden, joined by LaToya, Turk. And LaToya, we have two contrasting situations. Eden Prairie, they're playing their first game in 11 days. East Ridge is playing their fourth game in 5 days. They beat Irondale last night. Quick turnaround for them. How will that factor into strategy?
Well, it could go either way. Having that long break can play a part in it, and also having back-to-back games can play a part in the fatigue and the energy. One thing for sure, that you can't come out flat against this Eden Prairie team or they're going to make you pay for it.
Well, East Ridge certainly has some players to prevent that from happening. Grace Knupp and Sydney Clower leading the team in scoring, and they have a lot of experience in the coaching ranks as well. Anna Schmidt, the former Concordia graduate. David Michelson, Zach Vogelsberg, the former Tartan head coach, and Ashley Ellis-Milan in her second season as head coach. Division I athlete, overseas professional athlete. What she did with this program last year is commendable, and you have to think she will continue to guide this group of young guns.
Yeah, Coach Ashley's known for her sound fundamental training programs that she implements into the schools that she's at. And so it's just a matter of time before we see this East Ridge team get to the next level.
Eden Prairie hoping to get to that next level. They reached the state tournament back in 2020, didn't make the Final 8 last year, but they have some playmakers. If you followed our coverage, you've seen Nia Holloway. Ellen Weiss even joked about how everyone knows about her capabilities. Leads the team in scoring and rebounds. You also have Myra Moorjani, a future two-sport athlete at UMD. Molly Lenz runs the floor well. Those are the big three for the Eagles, and they have a lot of talent behind them. Ellen Weiss has a reputation for building programs that may not have a lot of history. She did that at Orono, and she's doing that here at Eden Prairie.
You know, if you can get your girls to buy into the program, you're going to be successful, and that's what she's done. Her girls buy in, and they work together, and this is what the results that we see from that.
And I know LaToya, who's a big basketball fan, I bet you can't wait to see Nia Holloway. I'm sure you've heard all about her, and Moorjani and Lenz, but I don't think you've seen them in action yet. If they play as I think they will, you're going to be in for a show.
I'm really excited to see her play tonight.
We all are excited to see them play, and we will see them in action when we return. Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves. Holloman, good if it goes. Yes! Game winners. James, she's in trouble. Finds James, toss shot, it goes in! And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. Let's put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching. Welcome back to The Perch at East Ridge in Woodbury. It's a venue LaToya is familiar with. Her oldest daughter, a graduate of this school. You would have found her on the dance team back in those days.
Yeah, she was the captain of the cheerleading squad.
Cheerleading,
actually.
that's right. Well, she
Boys
probably can
basketball.
dance too.
Yeah.
She can dance a lot better than I can. I'll give her that.
You and me put together, actually.
As we noted, it's a battle of top 10 teams. Eden Prairie got a lot of buzz early in the season, and Ellen Weiss had noted, you know all about Nia Holloway, but she made it clear, and I think it's important to remind the others as well, it's not just Nia Holloway that makes this team go, although her game has evolved since we last saw her in a high school uniform back as a sophomore.
Yeah, having the ability to play with a great player will actually increase the ability of the entire team. It will elevate the entire team. So these warm-up clap downs.
And a few other notes about Holloway and her exuberant performance thus far. 15 points or more in every game this season. Already has a double-double to her credit. And Myra Moorjani, Molly Lenz, they already have a few games with more than 5 steals, so they've got pieces all around. for Eastridge. This is the first time I've seen them since Ashley Ellis-Milan took over. They had some down years. They went winless the year after they came oh so close to winning their section and lost to White Bear Lake in overtime. So for Eastridge, they've had to work their way back up. And there were some questions when Britt Carlson decided to graduate early to focus on her volleyball career at Washington State now, but they're moving right along. Let's take a look at the starters for the visiting Eden Prairie Eagles. It's Molly Lenz, number 3. Myra Moorjani, number 13. Savannah Jones, number 32. Tori Schlegel, number 33. And Nia Holloway, number 41. Eastridge will start Elle Wildman, number 3. Sydney Clower, number 5. Carly Rexstad, number 20. Grace Knupp, number 23. And Jenna Ritzer, number 32.
It's always an exciting time for a freshman to be the starting point guard on your varsity squad.
And if you're wondering about Eastridge, they had a convincing win to start the season with Elk River. Played close with Minnetonka, came up a bit short. But Ashley said one of her former proteges, Keani Lockett, who she coached at De La Salle, was absolutely phenomenal. If you believe the saying, things happen for a reason, you know, she and Tanisha were thrilled to be together at De La Salle, but when that fell apart, now both are head coaches in the same conference. Tanisha won the first round between those two earlier this week. I'm sure Ashley would like to win the second one, but right now the focus is on Eden Prairie, and we're underway at the Perch. Grace Knupp has it. Just one senior, and that's Jenna Ritzer on this Eastridge team.
And both teams are fairly young. Both teams are fairly young, but the one thing about both of these programs is they have excellent feeder programs. So the young ladies get an opportunity to play with each other, not just during the regular basketball season, but for years.
EP, well, they've got a few seniors in their ranks, and Holloway and Moorjani, so they've got a little more leadership. Again, this is their first game in 11 days. But Eden Prairie, they had a grueling stretch to start their season. 4 games in 5 days, including 3 in a row. But they've won them all. And in fact, that third game in 3 days, as Schlegel makes that second chance 3 work. That third game in 3 days was against Lakeville North at the Tip-Off Classic. And Eden Prairie looked like the more spry team in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense, they put a pressure defense similar to what you see at Hopkins. Wears down opponents. So in the first half, if things are close, keep an eye out because Eden Prairie is lurking.
And, you know, one thing we're seeing is Eden Prairie's not afraid to put that 3 up, that outside shot. But I guess it's a plus when you got Nia Holloway underneath the basket there.
And Molly Lenz and Myra Moorjani, both solid three-point shooters to start the season, so they have a great outside-inside threat. Nia Holloway can go from distance too. Clower missing the layup. Clower on the Stars. EP on the run-out. Schlegel with the score off the feed from Moorjani. Quick 5 for Tori Schlegel, the freshman. Here comes the Eastridge team as they try to break the Eden Prairie press, and they're going to get free throws. That will be Jenna Ritzer who goes to the line. Ritzer averaging 6.5 per game.
Breaking that full court press is really fundamental, so we'll see how long it takes for how long Eden Prairie will keep that full court press on this Eastridge.
They've got the athletes to do it.
Yeah.
It's not a gimmick, this full court press from Eden Prairie. They keep it up, and again, they wear down opponents. Maple Grove and Lakeville North hung with them in the first half.
And it looks like the Raptors have put a little light press on themselves to slow down that Eden Prairie team.
Well, it certainly did slow them down on that possession. What do they say, LaToya? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery?
Is that what it is?
That's how the saying goes, so what I'm saying is that Eden Prairie
totally get it.
got a taste of their own medicine. Clower, one-on-one, puts on the brakes, but gets called for the elbow. I didn't see a lot of it from here, but I'm up here. The officials are down there. They have the better vantage point. But you don't have to make a lot of contact. If you extend that elbow, the officials are going to get you.
Absolutely. And her jump stop was great. You know, going up, she might have even drawn contact.
I think if she had laid off the elbow there, she would have had an open look. Tori Schlegel has an open look from the corner. Nia Holloway, rebound short. Jones, no good there. But I do believe that is Nia Holloway's 500th career rebound.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. And you could see Jones on that last possession really using her body and playing off the ball. So great defender at 6'1".
Holloway with the tip. It's a foot race. Won by the Raptors. They have a 2-on-1. Schlegel with the block. I'll tell you what, LaToya, Schlegel doing an impressive job against Clower in transition defense.
Absolutely.
She drew a charge or an elbow not too long ago, and now she gets a block. It's still Eastridge ball, though. But don't let Schlegel's age fool you. Eastridge fires the three, and it's long. Tie up. Eden Prairie with the arrow. 15:06 left in the first half.
Yeah, Schlegel's not playing like a freshman at all.
Not only did Eden Prairie have a stretch of 4 games in 5 days, they only have had one home game to this point. Their next one won't be until early January when they host Minnetonka.
Oh, that's a tough schedule.
Now, this isn't a WNBA franchise, so it's a little different. You're not racking up frequent flyer miles, but... And good friends of the Holloways, and Nia noted how they don't have a lot of home games. They already can't wait to get that first taste or get that taste of home again. But that's a strange way to start the season. No home games in December.
Get mentally tough, mentally prepared.
Well, I don't think you have to worry about mental toughness on the part of Nia Holloway as she penetrates for her first field goal.
That game with Holloway and Jones there is going to be something to watch. Like, I'm very impressed with how Jones is holding her own in the paint.
Nia Holloway, of course, one of the future Gopher 4. And look at the defense. She's putting up on Grace Knupp. Eastridge gets it across just in time. 3 on the way. No good.
And Eden Prairie has a swarming defense that they're putting on Eastridge right now. They're all hands, extremely athletic.
Well, they've got athletes all around. Moorjani, a 2-sport athlete. Soccer and basketball. Nia Holloway, a 2-sport athlete. Track and basketball.
And a state champ, high jump.
State champion high jump. Holds the school record. Moorjani, I don't think she realizes she's on the 5-second call. Was able to get back in time for a reset. Holloway to Moorjani for 3. Jones tried to get the rebound. Eastridge with the arrow. 13:40 left in the first half. Eagles lead 7-2.
That was extreme patience on that possession from Eden Prairie as well. Didn't rush it, waited for it. Eastridge is doing a great job of trying to keep Eden Prairie off of the boards, though. Getting in good position for rebounding.
Eastridge hasn't found a lot of success yet. Nice find to a cutting Carly Rekstad, and that will be free throws for number 20. Rekstad averaging 6.5 a game. Front end is short. Eastridge started the week with the win over Cretin-Durham Hall, lost to Roseville, and then a win over Irondale. Nia Holloway with another rebound. And there's an example of that high jump prowess.
Yes. And you can see it too when she's up high on the inbounds for the full court press as well.
Holloway to Savannah Jones. Holloway off the screen. That didn't work out, so she'll drive and kick and pick up the dime. Ashley Fritz picks up the corner 3. (10-2), Eden Prairie over Eastridge. Here's Isabella Sane. Her drive is no good. Eagles on the run. Holloway doesn't see the numbers. Another dime, perhaps? Not quite. Sane with the rebound.
So we're going to see if Eastridge is going to go back to this pass and cut offense here, which has gotten them to the free throw line a couple of times.
They trail 10-2 and just don't look fluid. They turn it over there. Timeout called by Eastridge, I believe. 10-2 the score. And LaToya, Eastridge, I think they knew they were going to be in for a tough one against Eden Prairie. And part of it right now is just not getting shots to fall.
Yeah, and they just got to settle down in their offense. You know, there's so much focus on breaking that press and getting it across the line. But, you know, there's still another piece to that. You got to start your offense. And I think that's maybe what Coach Ashley's going to talk to them about, is getting into that offense a little quicker and running their offense, because they have been successful with that pass and cut and getting to the free throw line. If they knock down those free throws, you know, it might be a little closer.
I'm wondering, how did the two of you meet? Because I know you have a strong friendship. I know every time we covered De La Salle when she was with Tanisha Scott, you always had stories, and we know about her background, of course. Went to a few state tournaments at St. Paul Central, 2,000 career points, played at Minnesota, and played overseas.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a firm believer of game recognizes game, and we have a lot of the same young athletes that we mentor and we coach, and so we're in a lot of the same spaces, and we highly respect each other. And so we don't have a personal friendship. We have a professional friendship, and I respect her and she respects me. We've both done some really amazing things in the realm of girls basketball.
I'll tell you what, Ashley's going to respect Eastridge's response after the timeout. Grace Knupp with the score in the last possession. The Raptors forcing the turnover here. This could be a great opportunity to work their way back in. Sane. That will go against Moorjani. I thought it might have gone the other way, and that's only because so many times when you reach over somebody, usually the call goes against you, but I think they call Moorjani on the push-off. So it's still Eastridge ball. And going back to the free throw line is Jenna Ritzer. And to finish up your chat, LaToya, Ashley makes it really easy to root for her with what she has done to mentor the youth. She worked with a lot of youth programs, coached at South with Tanisha Scott, then coached at Concordia for a couple of years, came back and rejoined Tanisha. And they had a good thing going. I think they were happy to see the powerhouse they built at De La Salle.
Yes.
But wild and crazy things happen. That's the best way we can describe it.
Yes. We've all been there.
Jenna Ritzer knocks down both of those free throws, and you know what? It worked out for Ashley. Now she gets a chance to be a head coach.
She's doing an amazing job.
It produced a surreal moment last spring because she had to go against her old high school coach in the section final at Stillwater, Willie Taylor, when he was the head coach there.
And she did an amazing job, too.
I'm wondering if that's why Willie Taylor left. No, he wanted to support his daughter, who's at St. Paul Academy. But for someone like Ashley, that has to be surreal. All these years later, and you have to go against the person that you once rode with. But there was a time when inner city basketball was a hot ticket.
Yes.
And Ashley Ellis-Milan was a part of that.
And I truly believe that the players that played that are still here will be a part of the rebirth of the rebuilding of the inner city basketball here in our cities.
Well, the Eagles don't care about rebirths. They get the block, but they can't bring the ball up. Stepping into the three. That was Wildman. That comes up short. Eastridge, I'll tell you what, LaToya, they're showing a little more scrappiness here.
Yes. You cannot play passive against this Eden Prairie team. Eden Prairie's doing a great job of rotation defensively. Doesn't look like playing those 4 games in the past few days is impacting them at all.
10-6 the score. And a few substitutions taking place. A bit of a staggered start here. It looked like Eden Prairie was going to find smooth sailing. Holloway left alone. Chases down her own rebound. Moorjani thought about it, fires. Holloway
Look
again.
At the hops. Way to find her.
Oh, Jones, though, a little too high. I'm not sure what happened there, but Jones put a little too much on that. It's amazing to think that Holloway only has 1 double-double this season when you see what she can do.
But I think she just has so many great additional pieces that
Holloway got a piece of it. She's doing everything.
Yeah.
But that's what she's known for. Lenz, 3-ball, in and out. Eden Prairie trying to make that 3-ball work, and we saw a lot of this yesterday. Well, I did. You were watching the Wolves run over the Lakers.
And for the record, I probably should have joined you.
If you were a LeBron fan, maybe. But if you're a Karl Anthony Towns fan, that's a big win for Minnesota. Off the inbound and sinking to 3, Annika Anderson.
Yeah, this Eden Prairie team starts inside and outside. You know, it's like pick your poison. How do you want it?
Here comes the pressure again. Knupp able to get past it. Drive and kick, 3-ball. Rebound.
Way to be in great rebounding position.
Nobody there, though.
You know, East Ridge has gotten nice looks on those second chance opportunities.
This is Jones. Out near the elbow. Anderson looked for a lane, doesn't get one. We'll kick back out to Lenz for a reset, 8:25 to go. Holloway just the 1 field goal, but a bevy of rebounds already.
Great
Moorjani
help. That was great help.
had nowhere to go. It was Knupp who provided the help defense and Wildman who made the initial stop.
It was almost like a setup. She's like, here, go this way.
Fritz will go in place of Jones. Off the inbound again. Holloway wins another scrum for the rebound. 3-ball. LaToya, the way this game is going, Nia Holloway could get to 1,000 rebounds by the end of this one. Drive and kick. Everyone's struggling with threes. So Molly Lenz tried the drive. That came up short. This is mirroring what I saw yesterday with Champlain Park and Totino Grace. Everyone's struggling to make their shots.
Yes. We don't have the amount of gym time that we had pre-COVID, and so that shooting is really repetition, being able to get in there. And we're very cautious of how much we're working the girls out too.
I know we've had a normal season as far as practices are concerned, game action. Holloway was bumped by Wildman.
Waldman's holding her own. You know, she's the smallest player on the court, but she's operating well under that Eden Prairie pressure in the backcourt. She's distributing the ball well, and she's getting in there. You know, she's not afraid of that contact.
13-6, 7:04 left in the first half. But as we've noted before, Eden Prairie, they can have slow starts, but they come up clutch in the second frame, and they come up clutch there as they thread the needle to Annika Anderson for 2.
You hear a lot of communication on the floor from this Eden Prairie team. They're talking. They're very active with their feet. All very key things to get you to that next level.
Sane with the quick dish and the swish for 3. Carly Rexstad gets on the board. Sane gets the dime. Isabella Sane does a lot of work with the Tony Sane Foundation, if you're wondering about the name. I get the feeling those two are related.
Yeah. Over St. Paul, the Conway Park.
Sane, a big name in inner-city sports. Eden Prairie calls a timeout. Well, that gives us a chance to talk about that in a little more detail. Sane helps out, volunteers with the Girls First basketball program, which helps younger girls that don't get an opportunity to play basketball a chance to play, develop their skills.
Yeah, that program is funded by Gatorade. It's over in St. Paul out of the Conway Parks and Rec Center. This summer we were over, and Coach Ashley was there. Coach Faith was there.
Faith Johnson-Patterson.
Yeah.
I know Olivia Antilla has done some work over there too.
Yep.
Who's about to become a mother.
Yes.
Was cheering on her 43 hoops athletes yesterday.
Collier from the Lynx was there. It was a really nice environment, a really nice program.
Oh, Nafisa, who's
Yes.
about to become a mother too.
Yes.
And Ashley knows all about
Great
that.
spin move, nice.
That's Ashley Fritz. Well, I'll get to that in a moment because Ashley Fritz, Eden Prairie, they've got 10 bench points.
And that's a great feeling as a coach when you can go deep into your bench.
They've only gone 7 deep so far, but again, they have a lot of playmakers. Baseline J will not drop, and a foul is called on Schlegel. But I was going to say Ashley would know a thing or two about that because she works with the Lynx and Timberwolves organization and has for the last several years. Funny how that worked out for Ashley because she had a tryout with the Lynx coming out of college.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't work out, but again, she got to play overseas for a little while, and now she works with the Lynx and Timberwolves at her day job.
You know, I think that's really important to young ladies when they have a coaching staff that has played at different levels because it can be more realistic for them as far as expectations on the court.
Knupp coming up short on the drive.
As far as what quality basketball looks like, and what the expectations are.
Bullseye. Ashley Fritz with the tray. Moorjani picks up another dime. Fritz up to 8. And Eden Prairie going on a run of sorts here with 4.5 to go in the first half. And Ashley, she's been through it all.
Ashley Fritz is playing really well too, both ends of the floor.
Three on the way. Eastridge still struggling to find the bucket. Eden Prairie on the run. And a transition jumper for Annika Anderson. Another timeout. LaToya. Eden Prairie has 15 bench points, 8 from Fritz, 7 from Anderson. That bench is currently outscoring Eastridge 15-9.
I don't know what to say about that. I mean,
what?
Fritz is doing
You're at a loss for words?
She's doing an amazing job. You know, she looks very seasoned out there. She's moving the ball well. She's moving her feet well on defense. She's getting into the open spot. She's not afraid to put the ball up. She's boxing out. So, I mean, for the East Ridge guards, they're a little bit younger. They're just going to have to put a little more grit into it and keep an eye on where she is and keep the ball out of her hand. So I guess I did have something to say.
I was going to say, usually you have a thing or two to say. And going in, it goes back to what Ellen was saying when I first covered Eden Prairie earlier this year. You all know about Nia Holloway, but there are other playmakers too, and
yeah.
Fritz and Anderson are making sure we don't forget that. If you're curious, Fritz are averaging just 4 points a game, Anderson 5.2.
Definitely, they showed up today.
Well, again, the Eagles have depth. That's why the Lake Conference, the top 3 positions in the rankings are held by Lake teams. Hopkins 1, Minnetonka 2, EP 3. And Edina's undefeated.
You know, when you can get a couple of those outside shots going and pull the defense out, it makes it easier for your post players as well.
The problem is Eastridge, they cough it up on the traveling call, and they haven't been able to find the outside shot yet.
Yeah.
Holloway to Jones. Kicks out to Lenz.
And with so many juniors on the team, it's going to be nice to watch them play in the off season too. With their last AAU season coming up.
I'll tell you what,
spring.
It was fun to see Holloway and Moorjani in the AAU circuit as well, and Lenz. Lenz and Holloway, teammates on the AAU circuit, playing for the top North Tartan team. Jump ball. They tried to feed it inside to Jones, and once again the help defense came in.
That's a huge win for East Ridge, even with the ball going back to Eden Prairie to prevent that lob. Jones is 6'1", and she's really dominating in that paint right now, and for the Raptors to get that stop, that's got to feel good.
But you've always got an elusive Holloway. Every time she touches the ball, you know she's got a move ready to go. And you know, you can see throws it away.
You can see a little bit of a difference between the two coaching styles. So Ashley has a younger team, so she's talking to them a lot. She's walking them through it. Whereas Coach Ellen with this Eden Prairie team, they're pretty much on autopilot right now.
Eden Prairie's undefeated, 5-0, and they've looked pretty sharp. That's a foul on Jones. That's the last to give for the Eagles. Eden Prairie has one more game before the holiday break at Centennial. They will play Irondale and Chaska at the Park Center invite. Irondale should be a winnable game. Chaska, not quite the team they were last year with Willems and Van Epps both playing college ball now. Still a long way to go, but the early indicator would suggest Eden Prairie and Minnetonka are heading for a showdown for the Section 2 final.
So good.
And they're in the Lake Conference, so they get each other twice. St. Michael Aberville, Tessa Johnson, she got 1,000 points last night. Mara
It's
Braun,
good to see her back.
Mara Braun should return in January from her injury.
Just so many amazing athletes right now on the girls circuit.
Eastridge looking to get something going in their favor. They've been stuck at 9 points for the last several minutes. And they just can't find an opening against that man-to-man defense of Eden Prairie. So how about a jump stop?
And I applaud this
on the brakes.
I applaud that East Ridge team for just sticking with it.
They get a stop. That's one way to beat Holloway, though. And Tanisha Scott walked by, the head coach at Roseville. She and Ashley Ellis-Milan, the best of friends. 3 ball. No good. If Eastridge can get some of those threes to drop, that could change the course of this game. Nia Holloway couldn't put on the brakes in time. 22-11. And Ashley Ellis-Milan will use this stoppage to get Sane on the floor. Foul on the Eagles. That will send Sydney Clower to the line. 1-1 here for Eastridge, but a chance to get some points on the board. And when you're struggling to hit your field goals, getting to the free throw line can help.
Yeah, and that was short-lived for Tori. She just came back in and picked up her third foul really quickly. I was wondering if she was going to trade spots with, is it Fritz, who just came out hitting the three, but she's going to have to spend the rest of this period on the bench.
So something to keep in mind, but Clower missing the front end, so an empty possession for the Raptors.
So I have a question.
I may have an answer.
Okay. So when we're watching this Eden Prairie team drive, we're noticing that their bigs are sealing off the defender. And so I'm wondering, at what point does that become impeding the movement of the defender? They're doing a great job of it, and seeing both of them do it. It allows for an easy access to the basket for their guards, but I don't know if that's a legal move. So refs, if you're watching, make a comment in the comment box for us.
Well, meanwhile, Holloway picks up another dime. Annika Anderson hits the three from the top of the key. She's already matched her season high. Clower had nowhere to go. Holloway got the poke. Moorjani with the steal. And that is Vanessa Jordan, number 34. The daughter of Sarah Jordan.
For it, yeah.
Well, she'll get free throws out of it. And that'll give me a chance to mention that Nia Holloway, a huge women's basketball fan, models her game after Asia Wilson, another role model of hers, last year's Miss Basketball, Adalia McKenzie. And if that wasn't enough, LaToya, as she tries to gather her thoughts on this, her favorite author is Angie Thomas, who penned The Hate You Give, that got turned into a movie a few years ago.
Yes. She said she loves to read. Two amazing players. I mean, Asia Wilson, probably one of our best post player, stretch four players that we have right now in the league. And then, Adalia is one of our favorites. So she pretty much carried her whole team on her back.
Backcourt violation on Lenz, but that wasn't because she did anything silly, just got the steal, but did so on the wrong side of the timeline. But that's a turnover you can live with.
Yeah.
And Adalia, she's doing that at Illinois as well. She dropped 23 in a recent game. So McKenzie showing no ill signs of her foot surgery that took her out for a little while. I know she has a lot of people rooting for. Eastridge struggling to get those shots to fall. Eden Prairie has a chance.
Yeah, sometimes you can just be too open.
Eagles have a chance to add an exclamation point here as the second stick away. High low to Holloway. And Nia Holloway does what she does best when she doesn't have the best position. She creates some space by herself. So she only has 6 points, but she did just about everything else, and the Eagles have a 29-11 lead over the Raptors at the half.
She's definitely owning that paint. That's her territory, that's her lane, and any loose balls, and even on the press up top. She's very handsy. She has the great jumping ability, so just can't lob it over the top of her. An amazing athlete.
That's why she's going to the alma mater of Ashley Ellis-Milan at Minnesota.
It's going to be great watching them play together.
I'm sure Ashley will be happier to cheer for her when that happens.
Yeah.
But we've got a break to take before we give you the second half and share a few more stories. You're watching high school girls basketball. Eden Prairie leads Eastridge 29-11.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
From James. She's in trouble. finds James. Toss shot. It goes in. And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Mike Peden and LaToya Turk rejoining you at the Perch at East Ridge High School. Eden Prairie leads East Ridge 29-11. Annika Anderson and Ashley Fritz leading the way for the Eagles. 10 for Anderson, 8 for Fritz, 18 bench points for Eden Prairie. That is outscoring East Ridge at the moment, and Nia Holloway making a couple of plays at the end. LaToya, we know East Ridge can wear down teams in the second half, and if they find that magic again, as they have in the past, East Ridge could be in big trouble.
Yeah, I just think they just settle down, make those bunny shots that they're missing. They missed a couple wide open layups, knock down your free throws. This game isn't the gap isn't that huge that we can't put a little pressure on this Eden Prairie team. And like we just heard, we have the Eden Prairie team. They've played a lot. They've been battling with some sicknesses, some illnesses. So let's just put a little more pressure on them and make them work.
At the end of the first half, we spoke of Nia Holloway's role models. Well, we caught up with someone that she has mentored. They become sisters from another mother, as the saying goes. Trinity Wilson at Lakeville North. Trinity, the daughter of Brenda Wilson, who was a member of the 1995 UConn women's basketball team.
Oh, nice.
The first to win an NCAA tournament, and the last champion, the last time the tournament, the Final Four, was at Target Center in Minneapolis.
So no pressure for Trinity, no pressure at all, right?
No pressure at all, but Brenda told me she's got her tickets reserved. She's hoping to see her blue Huskies back in the Final Four, and if Paige can come back and return to full strength after she recovers from surgery, they very well could. Paige Beckers, that is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of Demaya's Christmas gifts, as the fan package to the Final Four. So don't let this air until after Christmas.
I'm going to say, Demaya's going to watch this.
Yeah.
She's probably, I'm surprised she isn't here with you.
Well, she has a game at 5, so.
That's right. I'm sure the conversation was something like, all right, well, she knows how much you enjoy covering these games, so
yes.
She knows. If you can find a way to be in two places at once, you will.
Oh, my. I would.
Let's see if East Ridge can find some rhythm. A lot of it had to do with shots not going in, so if they can get some threes to fall, that could change the course of this game. Clower got a bit of a push off on Holloway, and
maybe just a little more energy from this East Ridge team, Having patience on that offense. Sometimes with the younger teams, if they make 4 or 5 passes, they get a little discouraged, but just keep going, wear that defense down.
This is the second of 3 Lake Conference teams East Ridge has on the schedule. You think Eden Prairie is tough. They get Hopkins on Tuesday.
Oh, bless your hearts.
Oh, come on. They gave Minnetonka a run. Let's not count them out just yet. But Ashley, having been around the game long enough, playing at Minnesota and playing with those St. Paul Central teams, as Clower comes up short on the 3. If there's anyone who understands what a schedule can do for you in the long run, it's Ashley.
Absolutely.
So I don't think she's worried one bit about the results of those games. As you said, LaToya, it's a young team. Ashley doing a lot of guidance, but the best way to guide them
is through it.
Put them through that fire.
Yep.
Yeah, that might take some hits. Como Park had the same mentality this year. They've got 4 Lake Conference teams in their schedule. Oh, that's a walk. Yep.
And the East Ridge program and the Hopkins program are both led by 2 amazing former athletes that grew up in the inner city. So I'm just really proud of both of those ladies for what they're doing for their program and the young ladies that are in their program. Yeah, those are those bunnies that we gotta capitalize on.
Eden Prairie does that. Moorjani finds Jones. That's the first field goal for Savannah. And if you want a sense of that inner city greatness that we were talking about, two of Ashley's teammates who graduated with her, Danielle Ellison, who's now a coach herself, has been with Tanisha Scott's teams for a long time. Ellison went to St. Cloud State. And Desjardins Buford, she was known as Prelo at the time. She was a two-sport athlete, volleyball and basketball at St. Thomas when they were D3. And Myra Moorjani knocks down her first three. So that Central team, they had a trio of senior leaders. And then,
Yes.
of course, you had Kiara Buford come up through the program. I do hope Kiara returns because as a fan, I would love to see it. Now, Kiara, of course, is focused on being a mother, but I'd love to see her come back and to have her and Ashley schedule a game against each other.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
think, well, I'd have a lot of fun with it. I'm not sure those two would.
And on a
ITs.
I also love to invite them to do training. They have such amazing training skills and what they can give to these young ladies to have that caliber of a coach on the floor with them or a trainer.
I think you've got Ashley on speed dial. I think you can make that happen. Nia Holloway to the line for two. Considered one of the best defenders in the senior class, and she was asked about that. What does it take to be considered one? She says it looks different depending on who you're guarding. Good court awareness, effort, and the ability to take no plays off. She thought that was the common thread.
No plays off. Basketball is a transition game. You absolutely cannot take plays off. Spot on with that, Nia.
Like you said, she likes to read, a big history buff. In addition to being an Angie Thomas fan, she has just about every song memorized from Hamilton.
Oh, we have something in common.
In fact, Holloway and Amaya Battle, her future teammate, both big Hamilton fans, so I wouldn't be surprised if they drop a few bars in practice next year.
Nia, I would love to share the mic with you for Satisfied. That's my favorite on the soundtrack.
Well, and Nia and I have something in common as well. We're both big MCU fans, so we were talking a lot about WandaVision earlier this year and Loki.
There we go.
Prairie gets the pair of free throws, but Eastridge finally gets a three to drop. Grace Knupp scores. Let's see if that helps out the Raptors. Jones off the quick skip from Schlegel. No, a foul was called beforehand, so no basket.
Waved it off, yeah. You know, it's one thing that you got to be aware of when you have a big that positions herself very well. You cannot let her sit down on you that deep in the paint.
Okay, not a foul. I think she stepped out of bounds.
Oh, did he call it? Did he wave that point off?
The basket was waved off.
Okay.
Or no, she got credit for it. Okay, I'm looking at the score. She did get credit for it.
I think maybe it was an inadvertent whistle.
It could have
or
been
he
an
thought it
inadvertent
was a
whistle.
Timeout maybe being called.
Well, I didn't see a timeout called there, but I think it was an inadvertent whistle.
And that's the same play from the other side. So let's see how many times they
That was
continue to
deliberate.
work that. Yeah.
No confusion about that. That was a three-pointer for Grace Knupp. But you know what? Like we were saying earlier, if Eastridge could get some of those threes to fall, that could change the course of this game.
And I really want this Eastridge team to find what works for them against this team. Even though Eden Prairie looks amazing, there's a gap there somewhere.
Well, Eastridge, they're building their way up. Eden Prairie, I guess you could say the same. They got to state a couple years ago with Natalie Mazurek and Destiny Bursch leading the way. And a left wing tray goes down for Tori Schlegel. She is up to 8. And now Eden Prairie starting to spread that offense around. 41-17 the score.
And the offense read that great for Eden Prairie. They saw her defender was sagging too deep, and she made her pay for it.
Knupp looking for some space. Well, she got some there because the defender went past her, and she draws the foul and will shoot two.
She did a great job of taking care of the ball on that possession, too.
It's not easy when you are doing it solely on the dribble. Grace Knupp, get this, LaToya. I don't know if you've done this, but Knupp has ziplined at the highest point at Costa Rica at the Continental Divide?
I'm going to say no. No, I haven't.
I take it you're not as fond of heights?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Well, maybe Grace Knupp can help you overcome that fear.
Oh, my.
Zip lining in Costa Rica at the Continental Divide. I may have to hit up Grace for a podcast on Mic'd Up Sports after the season. And
We did rock climbing in Puerto Rico, and that's about it for me.
rock climbing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got to give her props. Zip lining. You thought American Gladiators was fun, just zip lining down the Eliminator course. Zip lining across the Continental Divide in Costa Rica?
It
Clearly, I
sounds
haven't gotten out
amazing.
enough.
It sounds amazing. It sounds
You
like
know
a
what?
lot of fun.
We should do it. I'll get a GoPro. Then you could. You and I, LaToya, we'll set up a trip to Costa Rica. We'll have GoPros, and then you can get our vantage point as we tremble in fear.
Oh, my. My family, they're roller coaster junkies, so that's the extent of my heights. You know,
Okay.
every now and again I'll hop on a roller coaster.
I don't mind roller coasters, but it always gets a little tense when you go up that first ascent.
Yes.
Speaking of
Great
ascension,
take to the basket.
Sydney Clower does that on a take to the rim, yes. So Eastridge starting to get a few plays to go in their favor. Do they have enough time?
There they go. That's got to feel good, though. Even though she stepped on the line there, she went for it. You know, for Christmas, I think
Nice feed. Yes.
I think I'm gonna send Ashley some hot tea. She's talked this whole game. I know her voice takes a beating.
Well, look at who she was with all those years, Tanisha Scott. You know how she's going to feel, good, bad, and different.
Yes.
Faye Johnson-Patterson. I tell you, just about every coach, I think, works their vocal cords.
Yes.
And I think I get tired. You think I get tired? Well, when I call 5 games in a day, that's when I start to lose my voice. I can't imagine how the coaches keep theirs intact.
Oh, I had 3 events this week already, 2 behind the mic, and my voice is saying, "Hey, sis, what's going on?"
What'd you have this week?
I had a community holiday party.
Oh, that's right. You had a party. That's right. That's why you couldn't be with us on Tuesday.
Yes.
You missed a big game from Kennedy Click.
Oh, yes. She's also one of my favorites as well. Got to spend a little time with her over at MCA when she was in the 8th grade. Yeah. And then watched her a little bit playing with Tanisha. She's probably one of the players that run the floor the best. She runs that lane so well and she finishes so well. She has so many tricks in her bag. She can shoot the 3. She can rebound. I look forward to seeing her over the next couple of years. Is she a junior this year?
She's a junior.
Wow.
Eastridge called the timeout. We should point that out, 43-19. And looking at that Eden Prairie schedule, January 7th is their first home game in Lake Conference play against Minnetonka. They actually have a quick turnaround, a back-to-back pair of games, Minnetonka and Champlain Park. The Rebels beating the Eagles last night in a grind-em-out game. I know you were bummed, as you said, if you could go back, you would have gone to our game, but...
and then I was sitting there, the game didn't start to 9. I was like, I probably could have at least got the first half.
Yeah, ESPN picked it up, and so they moved it to 9, and I'm going, oh, man, LaToya's got to lose some sleep tonight.
Yes, I did. And there's that pass and cut. Once again, getting to the basket, getting the contact.
But I did get to check off Ava Holman off my list of players to cover. I've been waiting almost 2 years.
And I'm sure she's as good in person as she is on paper.
She's getting there.
She's probably one of the hardest workers.
3-ball corner pocket for Sydney Clower, and Eastridge at least getting some of those 3s to drop. Will that be enough for the win? I don't know. Jump ball.
Another win for Eastridge right there. They can really tell when a team is buying into their program because they're responding to their coach, which is a really a key point of developing a program.
Well, let's not forget, it's not just Ashley. She's got a lot of experience on that bench. David Michelson, Zach Vogelsberg, and Anna Schmidt, who Ashley remembers from her Concordia days. I have a feeling they worked those connections. Another baseline, Jay. That one doesn't drop for the Eagles. Or the Raptors, I should say. But a rebound and a three-point play chance for Sydney Clower. EP, they all went to one side, and so the rebound bounced over to Clower. She had an open lane, and here comes Nia Holloway. She was taking a breather, and I think Ellen Weesey has seen enough, even though her team is up 19. So he's going to try to get Nia in there to give EP a little more control.
And it looks like those guards from Eastridge, they're putting a little more pressure up top. Great rotation there defensively by Eastridge.
But they got hit with the foul, I believe. Yes, they did. 10:35 to go in the second half.
We would have preferred an out of bounds, but I guess
I know Eastridge would have. That's the third foul on Jenna Ritzer. Holloway takes the inbound, and you know what she's going to do with it, with that
Light
strength
work.
of hers. Yes. She's got the hops, the track speed. She's real fun to watch, and she only has 10 points. This is a pedestrian game by her measure. But look at how quickly the Eden Prairie defense and the cohesion, all of that has changed. You look at the vibe from this team. Eastridge forced into a tough shot. Jones with solid defense there.
Off
Quick
the
skip,
bounce.
the three, bullseye. Ashley Fritz with 11. And Fritz now has a new season high. 23 bench points, I should say, for the Eagles. And Eastridge can't hook up on that cut. And Holloway to inbound it. LaToya, after the Maple Grove game and the Lakeville North game, I don't hand this out often, and I don't know what her trajectory is, but the way Nia Holloway can change the dynamic of a game reminded me of Andrea Adams, someone who has that takeover gene.
Yeah, that leadership. It's a leadership quality. When your team responds to you, they respect you.
Molly Lenz showing some leadership as well. She knocks down the three, and Sydney Clower says, right back at you. 51-27.
Here comes the trap.
Holloway thought about it. Gets her own rebound.
So one thing that I'm seeing the Eastridge Raptors do that's been effective for them is they're doing this trap on the guards up top, which we also see Hopkins, they do this a lot too, which has slowed down Eden Prairie in their scoring. So I know we have a lot of scouts in the house tonight, and I wonder if that's going to be something that we're going to see more often against this Eden Prairie team.
Clower again, not that time. Well, Tara Stark's here because her Hopkins team plays Eastridge on Tuesday. Eden Prairie scoring in transition. That was number 23, Megan Timmerman. Eagles on the run.
Way to thread the needle on that one.
Jones, not that time, gets her own rebound though. Moorjani wants the three, and she'll sink the three. 56-27, LaToya. These two teams were in the top 10 in the most recent 4A poll, but Eden Prairie, they put Nia Holloway back in, and they are leaving no doubts as to who the superior team is today.
Yeah, they're definitely at will right now. It's too much manpower for the Eastridge team.
Well, and look at the numbers, how they break down. Annika Anderson with 10, Fritz with 11, Holloway with 10. So there's no one breakout performance today.
It's like that pick your poison year.
Right.
That year when we had Vanette and Jones and Adams. It's like pick your poison. At any given time, any player can grab a double-double.
Lenz and Moorjani, they only have a couple of threes to their credit. That might surprise you, but again, this Eden Prairie team, I think maybe they don't get the respect, at least not early, because Minnetonka added Aaliyah Crump and Linnell Wright. And Ashley had a lot of things to say about Aaliyah. She told me Aaliyah may be the next big thing.
Like I said, there's so many amazing athletes in high school girls basketball right now.
I got to see a few of them this week.
And one of the biggest things that I'm really excited about is that when they get to the next level of their collegiate level, that they have an opportunity to participate in this whole endorsement
the NIL
deal that's going on. So
NIL, which probably has Ashley Ellis-Milan and Anna Schmidt wondering, we played too early.
Yeah, exactly.
Holloway, baseline J, no good. Jones will be called for over the back. Well, Nia Holloway, I have a feeling will pick up a few offers of her own, not just because of her athleticism, but because of her interests.
Yes.
We haven't even gotten to mention yet a couple of other things she's a part of that sends a signal to companies that are looking for athletes to rep their brands.
Yes, absolutely.
And do so splendidly. And I'll get to that the next time BP gets the ball. Right now, Holloway guarded by Knupp. I should say guarding Knupp. Sane goes up, banks it in.
So ladies, use your hashtags wisely.
Use your hashtags wisely. You don't need to tell Nia Holloway that. She was one of the few athletes, as here comes Moorjani on the baseline drive. Count it. Well, I'm going to have to put that on hold because Moorjani has a chance for a three-point play. As we noted, she'll play soccer and basketball. Couldn't play last year due to an ACL tear. And Holloway will head to the bench. She may be done for the day. But Nia Holloway, she and Kendall Minta, a star volleyball player for the Eagles, co-founded the Black Student Union. And if that wasn't enough, Holloway also part of the Dare to Be Real program.
That's extreme leadership there, especially in an environment where you are a minority to step out and do that. So hats off to you, Ms. Holloway. Amazing work that you're doing.
So I have a feeling it won't be long before a company decides to sign up Holloway. And you know what? I don't know who all her contacts are because Nia has a lot of friends in basketball. She became fast friends with Mara Braun and the other Gopher 4 members, but Ashley Ellis-Milan, I'm sure, would have some advice from her experience at Minnesota. This is Knupp at the line as she shoots two. And even though Eastridge struggled today, don't count this team out in the conference in the Suburban East or in section play.
Oh, not at all.
This is a team that is still building their way up, and again, a great way to start. Ashley Ellis-Milan thrown into the ring in mid-November. Of course, we didn't have a traditional start to the season. 3-ball, corner pocket for the Eagles. That is Timmerman again. So you have the head coaching job fall into your lap after an opening. You get a young group. You almost get them into the state tournament. You've got a lot of experience on that bench.
The stars are aligned. It's just a matter of time.
Patience is going to be key.
Yep.
And referencing what you said about the way Ashley is coaching this game, how she's playing more of a guide than maybe Ellen Weesey is. Ashley Ellis-Milan recognizing that situation where, okay, maybe we don't win every game yet, but sometimes it takes time to build up a program.
And you can tell the young ladies, they know this, they believe in it because they're continuing to play. Even with the point differential that we're seeing, they are still going after every loose ball. They're still playing. And so they understand that it's a process.
Well, we saw that a couple days ago with Como and Maranatha. Como went up big. The game was locked, but Maranatha stayed with it all the way to the end. Of course, with Tyler Coley, he's not going to take a play off.
Absolutely. I haven't had a chance to catch one of their games yet, so I'm looking forward to.
It's going to look a little different than the last time you were there. New logo, new colors, new jib. They've added a little navy to their red
navy
color
and
scheme.
orange, I think it is. That
It's red and navy.
Okay.
Red and navy. So they kept red, but they added some navy, and I'm going, am I at the same play? Is this still right?
Maranatha's been known for that red and black and white.
Allison Cook connects on the three for East Ridge. And I was going to say, I think it's easier for that East Ridge team to buy in knowing how close they came to state last year. That, hey, we were the underdogs, and we gave Stillwater everything we had. So when you have that kind of success, you get a taste of that. I have a feeling the returning players, they wanted more. Because the one thing that East Ridge doesn't have on their resume is a state tournament appearance.
I don't think it's going to be long for them. Like you say, the stars are aligned, all the pieces are there. It's just the patience and the work that needs to be put into it right now, and I think they have both.
And the respect Ashley Ellis-Milan has garnered extends to the AAU ranks as well. She coached the North Tartan 2025 team last summer that had Bree Bowman, Addie Mack, Vanessa Jordan, I believe. Addie went over to Fury, but you know how it is with AAU. Team.
I know one place she's not leaving. Minnehaha.
Probably not.
No. Matt Prairie is doing a great job over there.
But I got to know some of the parents on that team, and they all had wonderful things to say about Ashley and Danielle. They were the coaches of that group. So Ashley Ellis-Milan, if she wants to continue this coaching career of hers, I have a feeling she's going to have a lot of options over time. And I remember when she was a player. I had more hair back then. Ashley was more fortunate and kept hers. Free throws coming for Grace Knupp. We're not at the mercy roll threshold here. And we're going to see a JV player get a few minutes. Here's another young gun that might be a name to follow down the road, Ella Hardwick, who I want to say is related to Zoe Hardwick, who played at Minnetonka.
Okay.
The Hardwicks and the Holloways, really close friends. And Nia has two younger siblings as well, twins, a twin sister and a twin brother, who are in 7th grade, so it may not be long before.
Oh, lineage there, yeah.
May not be long before we have some new players to follow. Knupp will get the steal. Going up against Jordan there. Three on the way. Bullseye. Allison Cook off the rebound and dish from Knupp. And you like to see that if you're Ashley Ellis-Milan, if you're following East Ridge, all right. The game didn't go our way, but stay with it.
Right.
Hopkins will not be an easy test. But again, those are the teams you schedule if you want to get better. Minnetonka, Eden Prairie, and Hopkins. A pretty good bunch, if you ask me. And even though we got a quiet game out of Holloway, we got to see a few glimpses. And I have a feeling once they get to late conference play, Eden Prairie hasn't played any Lake Conference teams yet. That won't happen until January 7th. And now Eastridge will send in the deep players. January 14th is their first meeting with Hopkins. That'll be a fun one as well. Holloway and Amaya battle.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game.
Anna Harvey with a friendly bounce on the triple. LaToya, I don't know what your schedule's like in January, but I may be hitting up the Lake Conference a few times.
I'm gonna put it on my schedule now. That's what I'm gonna do.
So we'll try to get some of these players in for the Raptors. That's Faylee Yang, number 10, one of the up-and-comers. I watched her at the Fall Showcase hosted by Junior All-Star and Prep Girls Hoops. As you may know, I'm a Junior All-Star employee, basketball analyst. How did I get that role? I have no idea because I don't know the first thing about the sport I tease. But Yang, she wasn't the quickest player, but she held her own.
And that's important. That, you know, we have players who, when they show up, they don't look like they're going to be this dominant force, but you have to be able to hold your own. And so
she ran the floor well. You could tell there was a knowledge, there was an understanding of how to play that position. And so Faylee Yang may be a name to keep an eye on in future seasons. Megan Timmerman cuts inside. She has 7 points, and that's a season high for her.
Basketball IQ and fundamentals will take you a very, very long way.
Another 3 for the Raptors. LaToya, 3 bench players for Eden Prairie all got season highs.
Seize the opportunity. That's what I'll say. Seize the opportunity. They saw an opportunity to score, and that's what they did. It'll make it easier when they're playing against some of the tougher competitors. They now have the confidence to know that we don't solely have to depend on 1 or 2 players, that anyone on our team can score.
And you need that depth in the lake. Hopkins, they're a little more shallow than past years with some of the players that transferred out. That is Harvey with the steal and a 3-point play chance. Eden Prairie, even though they've got the win in hand, they're not shying away from their identity. Megan Timmerman scoring in transition, and you have to like that too. Because some of these deep bench players, they want to prove they belong out there.
Absolutely. And you know, in practice, they're the second stream who's practicing against the first stream. So in their minds, they're just as strong and capable. So they want to get out, like you say, get out and then flex their wings too, flex their muscle.
Timmerman has her first double-digit game of the season. And so this win for Eden Prairie may not say much that we don't already know, but the Eagles will stay undefeated. They have Centennial coming up. They have a big game with Chaska coming up. And if you're Eden Prairie, I talked to them before the game, and they felt like maybe we haven't played everyone just yet or played anyone of note, but Maple Grove, Lakeville North, they're not pushovers.
Right. And coming in, being undefeated puts a target on your back. And so even
no matter who you play.
Yeah, even a team who hasn't won any games can seize the opportunity. So you have to even be more prepared coming in undefeated.
I think Nia and Myra, they've said we're waiting for the Lake Conference. That's what they feel they'll get their best competition.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard. You know, we dealt with that in the St. Paul Conference, keeping your team in top shape and performance when it's harder to find competition to match you.
But Maple Grove is no slouch. Eastridge is no slouch. And Eden Prairie stays undefeated. They go to 6-0, 70-38 the final. LaToya, Eden Prairie taking another step in that journey. Again, the Lake Conference sure to give them some fierce tests, but you'll take those wins any way you get them.
Yeah, well, they look like a well-oiled machine there. The Eastridge Raptors, don't count them out. They'll continue to grow and get stronger and quicker and smarter and move their feet more and all the things that they need to do to compete with a team like Eden Prairie.
We'll try to get a word with some of the Eden Prairie players before we call it a night. This is high school girls basketball The Eagles beat the Raptors 70-38. Joining me are Nia Holloway and Ashley Fritz. Nia, we'll start with you. It was a pedestrian game by your standards as far as points are concerned, but you got 500 rebounds today. The way you were getting boards, I wouldn't be surprised if you get 1,000 before we're through. But even though you only got 10 points, in what ways do you feel your presence helped tilt the game in Eden Prairie's favor?
I really am a team-oriented person, so I was really just trying to distribute the ball to my teammates a lot of the game, just because I wanted them to get theirs. And we haven't played a game in 11 days, so I really wanted to give them that opportunity.
How does that factor into the strategy, not having a game in 11 days? It was helpful for you as you were overcoming illness, but that's a long time in between games.
I think for us, it just means like working on our teamwork and our team, building our team so that we can get through those long stretches where we don't play.
Ashley, you were part of a bench that outscored Eastridge for most of this game. Yourself, Timmerman, Anderson all had season highs today. What was it about the bench effort today that gave this Eagles team a spark?
I think it was that the way that we cheered on so much of our teams that when we got out there, we just wanted to help make a difference just like them.
What do you think it says about the chemistry and the depth of this team? We know Eden Prairie has the big three. The coach was saying we all know about Nia, for example, but there are other playmakers too, and we've seen that in Eden Prairie games that I've seen, at least. It's not just Nia who can get the job done. It's any one of you.
Yeah, we're all really a team-oriented team, and even outside the court, we do everything together, and that's why we have such good chemistry.
And what would you make of the season at this point, 6-0? You've got your first milestone out of the way, Nia. Ashley, you got a season high as well, so a lot to be proud of today, and I have a feeling another check off that list as you await those late conference teams as well.
Yeah, I think for us, it's really just taking it one game at a time, like I've said before, and focusing on ourselves so that we can get ready for when we start playing in the conference.
Yeah, exactly what Nia said, and working on ourselves and our game and working on our weaknesses so we can only improve.
So, Ashley, I do have to ask you this. Are you going to consult Nia for any rebounding tips, knowing that she won't be around next year?
Yeah. Yes, I will be.
So you better get those lessons in soon before she gets all those NIL deals and is too busy for you. I'm kidding.
Over the summer, she'll have to work me out before she goes to college, teach me how to rebound.
Before you go, you want to say hi to anybody?
Hi, Mom. Even though she's standing right over there, I know she's going to watch it again.
Yeah, hi, Mom and Dad. Right over there, too.
Right over there, too.
And don't forget about Trinity and her mother, Brenda. Your little sister was out there to support you today. So you've got a big contingent of fans, Nia. I can't wait to see all of them show up in maroon and gold next year.
I know. I'm excited.
Well, thanks for stopping by. Congrats on the win, and stay safe over the holiday break, and get back out there. That way, Nia can get 1,000 rebounds without any sweat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nia Holloway and Ashley Fritz, that does it from here at Eastridge High School. For the rest of our crew, I'm Mike Peden. Thanks for watching.